In Chapter 46 of the Yoga Vasistha, we will discuss topics such as creation is not a disorder, but only a name, eclipse and non-acceptance are also Brahman, the parable of mirage, the parable of the rock and the sculptor, and more. Welcome to this explainer of our deepest truths, Rama. Let me guide you through this profound wisdom as if we are sitting together just like in the ancient days.
So listen closely, my student, as we quickly map out today's spiritual journey. We'll touch on how creation is really just a name, look into the mirage of the mind, unpack the parable of the stone and sculptor, and finally wrap up by applying all this directly to your daily life.
All right, let's dive straight into Section 1, Creation is Only a Name. This is all about understanding true reality. I want to share verses 26 and 27 with you. They literally state, creation is not a change, it is only a name. Now, what does this actually mean in our original context? Well, it means creation isn't some physical alteration of the supreme reality, Brahman. Nope. The physical universe we think we're seeing, it's really just a conceptual label our minds have completely made up. The crucial thing here is how we define disorder or change. You see, in Vedanta, disorder is just a perceptual illusion. It's when our mind projects names and forms onto the formless absolute. It is absolutely not a physical mutation. Brahman doesn't suffer some kind of disorder to become the world. The world is literally just a name we slap onto the formless truth because of the limited lens of our senses. Building on that, verse 28 drops another massive truth. Acceptance and non-acceptance are also Brahman. Think about it. Whether you totally accept this world as deeply real and engage with it, or you reject it as a complete illusion, both of those mental states, they're just expressions of Brahman itself. The dualities of accepting, eclipsing, rejecting, they all exist within that one infinite reality. Mind-blowing, right?
Moving right along to Section 2, the parable of mirage. Here we're going to see exactly how our senses deceive us on a daily basis.
Verse 29 gives us the parable of the mirage. It shows us how the mind is constantly chasing illusions across the barren desert of worldly existence. The story is absolutely crucial if we want to understand our own spiritual liberation.
Let's look at this dynamic. The mirage, that's our worldly desires and illusions. The vast, empty desert, that represents Brahman, the ultimate reality. Just like a thirsty traveler hallucinates shimmering water and dry sand, our ignorant minds project worldly satisfaction onto the blank absolute canvas of Brahman. It's an illusion, Rama.
So why do we do this? Well, we have to look at the mind and lust. These two intertwined forces are what keep the mirage going. They take our unfulfilled cravings and turn them into what feels like a tangible, physical reality. It's this endless lust and desire that makes the unreal look real, keeping the soul totally trapped in a continuous loop of suffering.
Okay, to deepen your understanding, my student, let's shift gears to Section 3, the stone and sculptor, and how reality is carved. Here in verse 39, we get the parable of the stone and the sculptor. Imagine a master carver staring at an uncarved block of stone. He already sees the finished figure resting silently inside it. It's unmanifested, sure, but its potential is entirely there.
This brings us to a foundational concept called mind Shila, or the mind rock. Picture the mind as this incredibly dense block of potential, containing the entire unmanifested universe inside it. This mind Shila is literally the rock of potential. The whole universe is resting silently within the infinite mind, exactly like that uncarved statue waiting in the stone.
Now, verse 40 tells us exactly what happens when unleashed desire strikes this mind Shila. Unchecked desire acts exactly like the sculptor's chisel against the rock.
But we have to grasp the true philosophical meaning here. A literal sculptor carves rock to reveal a form. But philosophically, it is your own unchecked desires carving experiences and suffering out of pure consciousness. Just like the chisel forces shapes out of stone, your cravings carve out the endless cycles of birth, life, and suffering. The carving itself is a total illusion, entirely created by craving.
Let's touch on Section 4 now. Story and philosophy combined, taking a look at this teaching method.
You might be wondering, Rama, why do I use these specific, worldly parables to teach you the highest spiritual truths? Why not just speak in pure abstract philosophy?
Well, it's because stories bridge the finite mind to the infinite truth. Our human intellect simply cannot stare directly into the blinding sun of ultimate reality without a lens.
These allegories anchor the abstract. They let you actually experience the truth directly in a way your finite mind can digest and remember.
Moving on to Section 5, Yoga in Daily Life, where we apply all this ancient wisdom.
So, how do we actually practice this so you can live in the world without attachment? There are 3 main steps to liberation here. First, diligently identify your desires. Second, profoundly change your perspective of reality. And third, absolutely refuse to chase the worldly mirages that only lead to suffering.
Let's zero in on that first one, identifying desires. This means recognizing that your personal cravings are just chisels trying to carve a false mirage into the reality of the mind Shila. When you diligently watch your mind, you realize your cravings are basically trying to carve water out of dry sand. It's a completely futile effort.
Finally, we reach Section 6, the summary of Chapter 46 and our ultimate takeaway from this sacred transmission.
Reflect on the essence of our entire dialogue today. On one hand, the parable of the mirage is here to teach us the absolute necessity of detachment from illusion. On the other, the parable of the sculptor points us to our ultimate goal, finding absolute stillness within the mind rock.
So, I want you to etch these final truths into your soul, Rama. Creation is a mere name, not a physical mutation. Acceptance and non-acceptance, both are Brahman. The mind is a dense rock of sheer potential, and it is your own unchecked desires and your desires alone that carve out the illusion of the world. And I'll leave you with this final provocative thought to carry with you on your path. If the world is but a mirage carved into the mind by desire, what remains when the chiseling finally stops?